Gamers and gentlefolk, hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm going to be your host for the Evening of the Sound, and we are taking a look at Division C once again. Tonight we'll be taking a look at Cats on My Keyboard going up against Maximum Thrust. It's a best of 3 series. Both teams, long-standing teams, existing since at least Season 12. Maximum Thrust actually playing since back in Season 11 with a single season hiatus somewhere in the middle. And both teams coming off of domination wins last week, so both trying to preserve their momentum as we get into this Week 7 bout. We can take a look at the standings here to see where both of our teams are ranking. Right now, both teams towards the bottom of the standings, Cats on My Keyboard and Maximum Thrust, both have the same number of dominations at 1. So having both secured that last week, they are feeling good, feeling great. Maximum Thrust have managed to get a little bit better showing thus far in the season. We can also take a look at our Battleground draft here to see where we're headed for Game 1. We had Cats on My Keyboard winning the coin toss and opting for first pick. Map bans went out onto Brax's Holdout and Cursed Hollow for Cats on My Keyboard, with Maximum Thrust banning out Battlefield of Eternity and Dragonshire. So we are headed to Alterac Pass for Game 1, as selected by Maximum Thrust. I'm always interested to see how teams play this battleground in particular. The split push approach is always very strong. Your ability to cheese the objective with Anubarak beetles and such can be very good. Pixelyun, thank you for the follow. Happy to have you here. And welcome to everyone in chat. Always a pleasure to have folks following along and cheering these teams on as we get into the draft for Game 1. Battleground specific heroes that always come to mind for me are Junkrat, Anubarak, and Hogger. I didn't get a chance to scout either of our teams, so I don't know if these big three are in their respective hero pools, but they each bring a unique tool to dealing with the objective or the secret objective of the Knoll Camp. Both Junkrat and Anubarak able to deny and cheese the actual objective while Hogger does the Knoll Camp. Stukov ban, Diablo ban, both generally strong heroes. I imagine there's also a fair bit of scouting data that has informed that those picks can be challenging. Stukov also has a strong ability to stall the objective. Got a Brightwing ban next. Excellent. So the healer pool already narrowed a fair bit. There will be further choke, I would expect, with the next round of picks as we see the Volibear go out. So first pick for Cats on My Keyboard. This is what they'd hoped for with their coin toss win, and they're gonna first pick the Anubarak. So securing that beetle sneaking of the objective. We'll see how Maximum Thrust respond. A strong auto attacker could be a good pickup here to punish that early Anubarak pick. We see the Sonya Tyrael. An interesting pairing. Tyrael, actually one of the more flexible heroes in the pool, frequently played as main tank, though he can work as a melee flex DPS and an offlaner. So curious to see how Maximum Thrust use that pick. Li Ming and Blaze locked in for Cats on My Keyboard. Maximum Thrust probably going to look for a healer ban here, given they have the next choice and the pool is already narrowed thanks to the first two bans from Cats on My Keyboard. I would expect a healer ban anyway, but yep, there it is. It's Anduin. Another cleanse support out of the pool. There are still plenty left, of course. And Maximum Thrust still have a lot of wow, Rhaegar, okay. So, cleanses are not cool. Neither team wants the other to have the option. Lucio, of course, one of the few cleanse supports available left up. At least of those that get cleanse pre, like, 13, 16. Lucio's also one of the few that grants a true unstoppable, so not a soft cleanse. Last two picks here, one more flex and a healer for the Cats.
Ana checking in.
Illidan Ana. Alright. Not the most common picks, but both very high skill expression heroes. Last choice here for Maximum Thrust. We'll see if they're gonna lock in a different tank, another damage dealer. The draft is a little bit wider open at this point. Abathur. Wowie, wowie. Okay, so really creative drafts here. Love to see it in Div C. So let's take a look as our teams get ready for Game 1. The Ana Li Ming combo, always strong. Illidan on a side lane can be challenging to deal with. He pushes pretty hard into the Abathur. It's kind of a hyper carry Tychus, which doesn't work that well into the Illidan with evasion. I think I like Cat's draft a little bit better. We'll see how the execution goes. Abathur drafts always can be tricky to go up against. It could very well be the difference maker that Maximum Thrust need to secure the win. But it's going to be a weird one, to be sure. Anyway, enough of my jibber-jabberin'. Let's get into the game and see how our teams execute. And we can introduce our teams here on the left in blue. We've got Cats on My Keyboard. IT Cowboy on Blaze, PJ Red playing Anubarak, Apple on the Ana, Grizzly64 on Illidan, and Ghost playing Li Ming. To the right in red, we've got Maximum Thrust. Vacuity on Tychus. Zeliv on Sonya. Speeboop on Lucio. Shalva on Abathur. And Noise on Tyrael. We can take a look at our level 1 talents here as we get into the first wave of the game. Party Mix for Lucio. Maximum mana. Okay, very cool. And we've also got Unending Hatred for Grizzly 64 and Illidan. So just a little bit of questing, not too much to speak of. Apple opting for Slumber Shells at level 1. More uptime on the Sleep Dart, as well as additional CC there. Vacuity trying to lay into IT Cowboy. With Dash at level 1, they're going to be able to chase a little bit better than they would otherwise. Speeboop doing the best they can to harass on the Lucio with an Abahat to boot. Level 1 means the Null camps have spawned, and both teams tending to them diligently. Grizzly soloing it here on the left with Noise working on it here on the right side for Maximum Thrust. IT Cowboy has already gotten a fair bit of push done on the top side, with Vacuity continuing to work on this mid lane camp. A little bit faster of a grab for Maximum Thrust. IT Cowboy continues to put pressure on this top tower and top lane. It's a 4-hero commitment from Cats on My Keyboard to the mid lane. I like this play from the Cats, taking advantage of their power play thanks to the Abathur, trying to get as much early pushing done out of this camp as they can, as both teams pick up their level 4 talents. Noise taking a lot of punishment from the Arcane Orbs of Ghost. They're going to get a lower cooldown thanks to their level 4 Triumvirate as well. And this camp clear... Oh no! That's first blood going over to Cats on My Keyboard. Lucio playing it a little fast and loose with their HP pool there. And so this front wall goes all the way down. Ghost trying to get the damage onto Noise. They are able to get away with the Eldruins. And now Vacuity steps up. Pressing their early game advantage, the Cats on My Keyboard get a huge push in mid lane before the first objective gets contested. And on top of that, PJ Red in range right on time to take care of that first 5 seconds. It's the advantage that having the Anubarak brings. We've got Apple and Grizzly already taking care of this left side camp once again. Ghost prepping the wave in bot. A big rotation on the IT Cowboy, but they're able to jet propulsion out to safety. So Cats on My Keyboard off to an early lead here on the battleground. PJ Red gets a lot of minigun damage. Looks like they're going to be able to escape, however. There's the stun in from IT Cowboy, but PJ Red down to about 1,000 HP. Gonna have a hard time stepping up once again. We'll see if the Cats look to push again or try and sneak PJ back up to the objective. IT Cowboy pushing away to their heart's content, taking out that mule at level 7, trying to minimize the amount of value and healing that that talent ends up getting. On the bot side, Grizzly has done a fair bit of pushing as well. As mentioned, they're going to get a lot more out of their offlaner in that regard. Speeboop gets stunned. PJ Red burrow charges in, but there's no CC for maximum thrust to lock them down. Ghost is doing an amazing job getting these stalls. They missed that one, though. So, first objective channel for maximum thrust now. A full level lead for Cats on My Keyboard. I took Cowboy. Jet propulsion's in. They're going to fall. Sonya very low here. Ghost trying to get the takedown. That's a reset for Li Ming, but Vacuity's going to chase him down with a needle burst from Abathur as well. Speedboop falling low. Grizzly doesn't have any CC to lock him down, but it looks like they didn't have the evasion up. And so that's going to equalize experience a lot. I had been looking here. A little bit more hero experience for maximum thrust with those 3 takedowns. Minion experience currently favoring CMK. I'm not going to say that correctly. I'm just going to call them the Cats. And there are heroics for both sides. Anything out of the ordinary. There's the Cocoon onto the Lucio immediately. All the damage onto Vacuity, but a timely salvation. Oh no, it's not enough. Tyrael, the hunt in onto Speedboop as well. Oh no, Noise in full retreat. PJ Red gets the channel here. Their heroics came online, and Cats on My Keyboard immediately engaged. Noise not going to last any longer. Grizzly hunting in. Bunker dropped at some point. I'll tell you that much. Let's call out the rest of the heroics. We've got Bunker Cocoon, Nano Boost, the Hunt, and Disintegrate, of course. For maximum thrust, it's Draken Laser Drill, Leap. Sound Barrier instead of... Oh, there's the leap in. I don't think IT Cowboy is going to make it out alive. Vacuity's connected with the minigun. And so that's another return kill. 4 takedowns to 5 now, favoring the Cats. Grizzly pushing away. They're going to be able to tank towers for as long as they want. They're Illidan. Wait a second! Bud, what happened? The evasion went down at an awkward time. Vacuity trying to get away from Ghost here, but they eat all the CC. Disintegrate not enough to do it. Ghost cannot connect the last couple magic missiles to secure the takedown. Sonya and Tyrael making it in for the save. But this top 4 likely going to fall. Ghost playing it very aggressively here. I think Ghost dies off this. Does Noise have the Eldruins? They do. That'll be another takedown. Somewhere, IT Cowboy got a kill. Oh my god, the sound barrier layered on top of the sanctification. No further takedowns. Man, this is a bloodbath already. Lots of back and forth thus far as we round the corner towards our level 13 talents. Maximum thrust just a hair ahead. And of course, I didn't get a chance to call out their heroics because it's been non-stop fighting since. Draken Laser Drill, Leap, Sound Barrier, Monstrosity, interestingly enough, and Sanctification, of course. Surprised to see Monstro. There's another fort takedown. Unfortunately, the mule came down a little late. And so it's 2 of the outer structures gone on the side of maximum thrust. Oh, what a great set of body blocks and stuns. There's another one. Apple goes down. Speedboop taking a lot of damage from the fort there. But with Tyrael at their back and the camp to push with, if they're not careful, Ghost might get a takedown here. There's the Sanctification. Well timed once again. the laser drill comes down. About a full level lead in favor of Maximum Thrust. Grizzly laying into Noise there. There's the hunt in once again, and Tyrael will fall. Grizzly, I don't know if they're going to survive. They can't make it out. The fort still survives a little bit longer. Sonya falling very low here. Speeboop completely out of mana. Vacuity in full retreat. It is a full spin build for Sonya, even going for Ruthlessness at 13, doing additional damage. IT Cowboy tries to get the stun onto Monstrosity, but they don't have a hitbox to stun. PJ Red dropping the trait beetles, but unfortunately the aggro went a weird way. Maximum Thrust about a level ahead. They'll get the takedown onto the Monstrosity. Apple landing the sleep onto Speeboop there, but they spent all their spells to take out the Monstro. Neck and neck towards 16s now. Oops, sorry, friends. A great sleep dart. I've really liked the use of Holy Ground from Noise thus far. They've been getting a lot of value out of the terrain building that Tyrael brings. Lots of posturing here. Level 16s on both sides. We've got Purifying Dart, removing roots and slows, and granting move speed. Heals for 20% more instead. Which is an interesting tech pick on Alterac because of the tar pit terrain, the mud pit terrain. You can just have your ally go sit in the mud and get extra healing. Immediate stun in onto Ghost. They're able to blink out. There's the Sanctification. PJ Red in a lot of trouble. Body block on all sides. So that's a takedown onto the Anubarak. Ghost trying to take out the laser drill. Looking for an angle in on this objective. All the while, Maximum Thrust have been channeling, so they've only got about 10 seconds left before... We've also got IT Cowboy pushing top. Didn't show up for that objective, so it was outnumbered in Maximum Thrust's favor. They'll secure it, which I think they're pretty happy with, frankly. Abathur compositions, as best I understand them, want to... Oh, IT Cowboy just gets out. They want to scale into the game without losing... into the late game without losing too hard. Losing 2 forts, definitely not losing very hard. They're going to commit all 4 heroes here to the top lane. There's the Cocoon onto Speeboop. Huge jet propulsion. Follow up with the Biotic Grenade. Noise falling low here. Ghost wants to get that first reset. IT Cowboy gets another huge jet propulsion thanks to their level 16 cooldown reduction there from thermal protection. About half of the top fort goes down. Mid fort will fall to the objective. Noise, once again, down below half HP. They drop the Sanctification. Ghost eats a lot of damage. Speeboop, the target of Grizzly's hunt. Another set of stuns from PJ Red. IT Cowboy connects with a jet propulsion. PJ Red falling very low. Grizzly in full chase mode. Illidan doing a lot here. The Biotic Grenade giving them so much healing. One more jet. Oh no! The Flame Stream not long enough. Speeboop will speed the rest of Maximum Thrust out to safety. Slippery as all heck. Maximum Thrust get the escape thanks to the Lucio speed boost. Of course, with how much damage they took, they're not going to be in a good position to stop Cats on My Keyboard from grabbing this boss in top lane. So that will push towards the keep. Of course, with Mule in play, it's a little bit of a question in my mind if the Cats want to commit fully to defend or pushing with this boss. Looks like they're instead going to go for the double boss play. I think that makes sense. Maximum Thrust are going to get a free cleanup on top boss. However, in all likelihood, this boss was not going to get through the top keep. And if it were, Cats on My Keyboard would have to pay a lot, frankly. I would expect. Whereas instead, this bottom boss is probably going to secure them this bot fort. So peeling the last outer structure away from maximum thrust, I think, is a good play. Makes it a little bit harder for them to step up and feel safe. Here's the collapse from maximum thrust, but I don't think they'll be able to get this boss burned down before the fort falls. Yeah. Both teams pretty neck and neck towards the Storm talent tier. A little bit more hero experience for maximum thrust, thanks to their 10 takedowns, next to the Cats' 7. Minion experience, interestingly enough, favoring Cats on My Keyboard. Not what I would have expected with an Abathur composition. And there are the Storm talents. We've got Rewind, IT Cowboy dropping the bunker pretty early there. Cats on My Keyboard a little bit split, opting to pick up their null camp instead of get too aggressive on this objective. Speeboop eats the stuns, every single stun. That's a takedown. Grizzly might fall here unless they get a little bit more healing. Oh, they trade 1 for 1, but the resets are coming in. Vacuity falling low. One more set of stuns from PJ Red and IT Cowboy. Unfortunately, Ghost does not follow the chase. So 3 for 1, definitely a trade that the Cats are happy to make. Apple stalling out the objective minions while the rest of Maximum Thrust get busy in the mid lane. They'll also be able to push with this double null camp here. I don't think Vacuity is going to feel safe to step up, especially not with Talrash's Elements Ghost in range. That additional damage from the Storm talent tier, nothing to sneeze at. Of course, Vacuity does have Neosteel? Yeah, Neosteel coating at 13. One of the better spell shields in the game. 75 spell armor on a 30-second cooldown. Maximum Thrust have equalized. We've got Bob and Weave, so additional dashes for Tychus. Ignore Pain. Speeboop has opted for House Party, so even more healing when they group up, which Maximum Thrust have been doing a lot of. I think it makes sense. They've got a pretty short-range melee-heavy composition. Little bit of a fat finger, I have to assume, on that sound barrier, especially with no Bossa Nova there. And Holy Arena, of course, for Tyrael, the natural choice if you've gone Sanctification at level 10. Sonya finds the Anubarak on the side here. Mule has already been called down. Cleaning, peppering in these arcane orbs. They've opted for a teleport build rather than a arcane orb build. They're going to keep peppering down this keep as much as they can. We've got heroics up primarily in favor of Cats on My Keyboard. They could look to get aggressive here. They know that the Mule was just called, but they're not going to get too aggressive on the bot keep. Grizzly, the whole while, has been pushing away. They've gotten through some of this bot keep wall. Bosses spawning in 10 and 45 seconds, respectively, for top and bot. And this is an interesting, almost stalemate position for Maximum Thrust and the Cats. Maximum Thrust with a different composition on a different battleground would definitely be on the back foot. But with an Abathur composition on Alterac, with a core that heals itself, and a hero that can de-push lanes and still participate in team fights, Maximum Thrust are actually probably feeling pretty hunky-dory right now. Of course, the global from Illidan is a little tricky. They opted for Nexus Blades at level 20, so additional damage means that Illidan continues to be a split-pushing threat. Vacuity stepping back in after taking a fair bit of damage from Ghost. Grizzly rotating in on the Illidan. They're going to show on the minion wave. And it looks like Maximum Thrust going to back out. Speedboop sticking around, trying to keep vision here for the rest of the red team. Monstro is in range to deal with mid lane. Sonya shows up. And it's just posturing over this top boss. Hive Mind from Abathur paired with the shields from Tyrael and the move speed from both Tyrael and Lucio. Maximum Thrust are really just a big ball of stats at this point. There's the leap onto IT Cowboy. They drop the bunker. Immediately gets blown up. Trading for the Draken Laser Drill. Lots more posturing, but no takedowns on either side. Monstro has once again reached full potential. They leveled up their Pokemon. And now Grizzly gets to solo this objective. I like this play. I don't know how strong Monstro is when fully scaled as it is. Strong enough to go potentially fight an Illidan. Vacuity taking a lot of damage there, but they still have Dash. Dash plus Bob and Weave at 1 and 20 respectively, giving them a lot of move speed in and of themselves. So, like I was saying, they've got a lot of just raw stats between the move speed and the shields. Grizzly's gonna get this objective channel. We'll see how well they can deal with the fully stacked up Monstro. They're gonna back up with Vacuity rotating down. Of course, that's the green light for the Cats to get busy on this objective. And by objective, I mean boss. IT Cowboy stunning out. Looking for Speedboop, I guess. Pretty long range there. This might be a long one. This patient game would typically favor the Cats. Oh, Vacuity playing it real fast and loose up there. Has to drop the sound barrier. There's the nano boost. Vacuity, the target of the hunt. Grizzly in deep here. They still have the Sanctification, and there it is. Holy Arena as well. Grizzly falls. There are 2 in the bunker, but Apple's now in a rough position, getting chased down by the rest of Maximum Thrust. I don't think they're going to be able to escape. That'll take them down. Ghost still alive, but they haven't gotten their first reset. Noise will be the first to fall. Unfortunately, they cannot connect the rest of their spells. So they get the takedown onto Tyrael, but only PJ Red and Ghost remain alive. Vacuity getting a lot of damage out there. Speedboop able to speed the rest of the team after them for the chase. Sonya falling very low here. Zaliv? I guess that's how I would pronounce that. Zaliv? That's what I'm going to go with for the rest of the match. PJ Red trying to solo this objective, but Monstro doing a fair bit of damage. Chunking into this Anubarak. Speedboop coming down to help the Pokemon. I don't know who I first heard call that the Pokemon. I've also heard it called a Neopet. You know, it's something that you care for, but from far. Boss in top lane gets through the fort. Maximum Thrust secure objective progress here as well. Tyrael's back up. Looks like Cats on my keyboard are going to let the boss go in top. Not too worried about what... Oh my god, what a stun! Vacuity taking so much damage. There's the leap from the Sonya. Grizzly is in deep. They're falling low. There's the nano boost. Can they get any takedowns before PJ Red falls? They cannot. Vacuity very low here, but IT Cowboy does not connect with their jet propulsion. Grizzly in a lot of danger. They get another big heal, but they're not going to make it out alive. The sustain that Maximum Thrust have with the Lucio and Abathur is just too great. Ghost has not been able to get the resets they need to make the Li Ming sing. And so the gambit of playing for the objective ends up costing them both the objective and this top keep. Maximum Thrust, playing it patiently in the early game, have scaled really well into the late game with their Abathur composition. They're also going to be able to proc this boss while Tyrael babysits the objective. Gontal gets stunned. Ugh. 2 out of 3. Good job, boss. So, yeah, this is going to be a tough push to defend. Boss will probably get through bot keep before the objective even arrives, bringing the core's armor down to a mere 20. Mid lane is going to have a little bit of pressure relieved thanks to their constant Reavers as well as that Knoll camp. So mid keep might be relatively healthy, but if the cats aren't careful, Maximum Thrust can look to end here. If they're able to line up the hunt with the rest of the CC and get that first takedown before Sanctification gets popped. IT Cowboy in so deep. There's the Sanct. Immediate takedown. Apple falling low here. Speedboop chases him down with the rest of the team. And now the boss and the objective are in onto the core. I don't think they make it. Speedboop gets taken down by the hunt, but the core is falling low, and it's going to be GG here for Game 1, going in favor of Maximum Thrust. Well played to both sides, but the late scaling Abathur comp ends up taking it here for Game 1. An excellent showing. Both teams playing their non-standard compositions quite well. The map choice definitely meant that Maximum Thrust had the Abathur in mind, and they performed well on their battleground, so well played to the red team. Of course, Cats on My Keyboard were having a fantastic showing with Li Ming and Ana there in the beginning. Thank you for the follow, Exiled Wingman. Appreciate it. Let's take a look at our post-game stats here for game number 1. What do we have? Pretty even takedowns, frankly. Maximum Thrust were able to secure more of those late-game takedowns, of course. And that's when the death timers start to matter a lot more. Oh my gosh, 46,000 experience for the Abathur. Shall be. Shelf? Couldn't tell you, folks. Checking in on our builds, anything out of the ordinary. I was a little surprised to see Draken Laser Drill just because of how popular Odin is, but given that Vacuity was kind of filling that hyper carry role, having access to minigun as often as possible, I think makes a lot of sense, and you cannot minigun while you are Odining. Revolutionary revelation, I know. Yeah, and the Swift Retribution at 7, amping up the attack speed, the movement speed from Tyrael, the movement speed from Lucio. Does Abathur grant move speed at 4? No, it's attack speed at 4. Movement speed is at 13 if they do it. Heals. Movement speed at 16. Yeah, man, I love this draft for Maximum Thrust. Just a big ball of stats of movement speed and attack speed, just running you down with a leap to boot. Whew. Nasty stuff. Very creative drafting, very well executed. So let's head back over to the Battleground selection to ponder where we might be headed for Game 2. Cats on My Keyboard, I would expect, opt for first pick again, as that was their selection when they won the coin toss. Um, I would be surprised if they ended up going to another macro large battleground. Not only because of how well Maximum Thrust performed on that first battleground, but also because we saw the Cursed Hollow ban from them. So with that in mind, I would expect something more in... Well, see, if they chose Battleground Selection, that is. If they do opt for Battleground Selection, I'd expect them to go to Shrines or Tomb of the Spider Queen. They opted for first pick originally, and if they do that again, I think it's the draft where they'll have to make the adjustments. The Abathur proving to be really impactful for Maximum Thrust. So if we end up going to another big battleground, I think the Cats will have to address that pick. I would expect in the ban phase, but it could also be chosen away. You never know. To anyone who tuned in midway through Game 1, welcome. Happy to have you. We're taking a look at Division C Best of 3 series between Cats on My Keyboard and Maximum Thrust. What else can I say? Yeah, I was really pleased with the Li Ming play from Ghost. I thought they were playing very well. Unfortunately, after the kind of stat ball got rolling, they weren't able to get around to those resets that they need. And that proved the deciding factor in the team fights. And it looks like Cats on My Keyboard have opted for first pick again, so Maximum Thrust take us to Garden of Terror. Another large, split push heavy, late scaling battleground, another potential Abathur playground. So we've got the data from Game 1. The Cats absolutely can adjust in draft. The Illidan for Grizzly, though having a few shining moments, I don't think got as much value as the Abathur offlane for Maximum Thrust. This being such a large battleground, I would expect that Dahaka rises in priority. Alterac, not necessarily the best Dahaka battleground because of the relative dearth of bushes, because they got rid of bushes and added mud pits instead. No fun. I mean, if you're a Dahaka player, which I am, unapologetically. But Garden of Terror does not share that problem, so we could see the Apex Predator in this draft, either in the picks or bans. Cats on My Keyboard had focused exclusively on the healer position for their bans in Game 1, ending up with a Lucio to deal with, but it felt to me like Maximum Thrust kind of got everything that they would have wanted for that composition. The cohesion of their picks seemed spot on, so perhaps that is the adjustment that would be best suited for the Cats to make. Looks like we've got our lobby going, so let's, oh my gosh, do the gross transition. Sorry, friends. So adjusting the bans already. There's the Tyrael. I think that makes a lot of sense. Noise got some huge sanctification value in that first game. Maximum Thrust going to keep things the same as they did for game 1 with the Diablo ban. And there's the Stukov. Alright, so they are afraid of the Stukov, banning it in the first slot for both of these first 2 games. Last game it was a Vala ban in this slot for Maximum Thrust. We'll see if they opt for getting rid of the Demon Hunter yet again. And pretty importantly, yeah, Vala ban's still the same. The Abathur is still up. With how well it went for Maximum Thrust, I don't think early picking it would be that bad for them, frankly. But there's the first pick to Haka. Okay. That helps. Certainly. Deal with the Abathur pick. A global on a big map, always useful. An Apex Predator who gets move speed from bushes when there are lots of bushes, also great. Honestly, if I'm Maximum Thrust, I ripped the Abathur right here, right now. A Nubarak Chromie instead. Fair enough. So some long-range burst damage along with a decent amount of lockdown. We'll see how Cats on My Keyboard respond. Picking up the Anduin, which they were unable to grab in game 1, and the Muradin. So both damage still left available for them. We'll see where the next ban is for Maximum Thrust. Banning away DPS always feels like throwing darts at a board with a blindfold on. Like, there are too many to choose from. Who's to say which is best? They're going to ban the Junkrat. Fair enough. Don't want to have any poke damage coming back, as they'll have Chromie damage going out. Maybe they didn't think the Abathur was the problem. Maybe they don't ban it here. And instead, yeah, they're going to go with the Brightwing. Okay. I mean, Chromie and a noob aren't necessarily the best hat targets. Lunara's not so bad, though. Lunara and Deckard. Maximum Thrust still have their off lane to choose. They could last pick it. We'll see how Cats on My Keyboard want to round out their draft. They could do with a bit more damage. Likely 2 range damage dealers, but instead we're going to see the Kerrigan. Very, very cool. And the Falstad. Okay, so it's double global and a melee assassin. Cats on My Keyboard definitely playing the map more, but the kill pressure with Muradin Kerrigan is still extraordinarily high. Maximum Thrust, they need an offlaner. We'll see how they finish it off here. Ah, the Fire Lord. Everyone's favorite fire elemental. Alright, let's head over as our teams get through the swap round. Double global. Ragnaros with Lava Wave is a pseudo global post 10. I will say the damage. So if Cats on My Keyboard are able to catch Deckard, Lunara, or Chromie with a Muradin stun and Kerrigan combo, they probably die. But if they're trying to get global value and look for an engagement 3v more than 3, that could be pretty sketchy for them. And they don't have good stalls on objectives with a melee assassin. So they're draft a little bit at cross purposes there. We'll see how it plays out as we get into game 2 here. We've got Cats on my keyboard looking for a win, trying to get us to a game 3. We've got IT Cowboy on Dahaka, PJ Red playing Muradin, Apple on Anduin, Grizzly 64 on Kerrigan, and Ghost playing Falstad. And Maximum Thrust trying to pick up their second domination of the season. We've got Vacuity on Anubarak, Shalve on Deckard. Anyway. Zeliv on Chromie, Speedboop on Ragnaros, and Noise playing Lunara. So a full set of role swaps for Maximum Thrust. Level 1, what do we have? Ghost opting for Gathering Storm. Time Walker's Pursuit, level 1 for Chromie there. Getting lots of reveals as well as additional spell power. Ghost eating so much poke. With only 4 heroes committed to the mid lane, Cats on my keyboard took a lot of punishment there. Grizzly gets the combo onto Noise. A lot of damage. PJ Red throws another stun in. IT Cowboy makes the rotation. Unfortunately, the drag does not connect, hitting a Anubarak trait beetle instead. We're going to see lots of those beetles thanks to the beetle build. Scarab Host at level 1, Legion of Beetles at level 1. Ghost trading aggressively 2v1 here. Vacuity and Noise, already taking care of their first camp of the game, going for the mid-siege camp. A 4-hero commitment from Cats on a keyboard to get their siege camp out as quickly as possible as well. And fair enough, they're getting all the experience in every lane. Speedboop in top, taking care of that minion wave. They've opted for a Blast Wave based build with Engulfing Flame at level 1. A little bit of an earlier level 4 for the Cats. Reverberation from Muradin. I assume mostly for the cooldown reduction. The additional auto attack speed reduction isn't necessarily that important into Maximum Thrust. What else do we have? Blossom Swell, increasing the area of Noxious Blossom. There's a team fight going on down here, guys. Who cares about that siege camp? A well-timed siege camp in bot lane as we get a pause. So let's pop back out for a second while our teams figure out what's going on. I was saying Maximum Thrust defended the bottom lane bruiser push from Cats on my keyboard with a very well-timed siege camp of their own. They've also managed to get their top bruisers out. Of course, Cats on my keyboard do have the globals available and have done a reciprocal timing of their top siege camp to meet Maximum Thrust's top bruiser camp. All that to say, both teams playing the mercenary camp simulator, as some call it, of Garden of Terror very well, attending to all 3 of their lanes, keeping neck and neck on experience. Level 4 for Grizzly on the Kerrigan. They've opted for Sharpened Blades. I don't know how easy it is to complete that quest. 75 stacks. Typically, you stack up on minions and do it by rotating between 2 lanes, but on a battleground as large as Garden of Terror, you don't see as much double soaking, just because of how difficult it is to get from one lane to another safely. So it might be challenging to get that stacked up. We'll have to keep track of that. Rejuvenation Potion for Deckard at level 4, a bit of a surprise. Shall they? Shalve? Guys, I don't know how to pronounce this name. It's killing me. Either way, they've opted for the Mana Return potion at level 4, as well as a heal over time. I think the least common level 4. Lots of folks really favor Ruby at that talent tier, but Potion of Shielding also another strong choice. Of course, Mana Sustain matters, and Deckard is one of the few supports that can assist in that regard, alongside Malfurion with Innervate. We have one player disconnected, which is what has caused our pause. So hopefully we'll get them back in the lobby here soon, and we can get back into Game 2. I'll also be interested to see how our teams prioritize the objective, to what level our teams prioritize the objective, I should say. Cats on my keyboard have the double global, but don't have good objective stalls. Maximum thrust don't have as much like kill pressure, raw kill pressure. Oh no. Seems like we're losing more of our players to various other reasons. So this may be a longer pause than otherwise expected. So with that in mind, I'll just talk with you fine folks. I always assume that pretty much everyone tuning in is already part of the NGS community, but if you're not, you can use !NGS in chat to find out more about this fine league we're all participating in. It is the largest amateur HOTS league in North America. It's completely free to join. It's an uncapped skill level. No one is too high or low in MMR to play. So if you are unfamiliar with NGS, give us come take a look. Give us a shout. We'd love to have new folks, and we may be seeing new folks now that HOTS has been brought to the Xbox Game Pass. There was an announcement earlier this week. Heroes of the Storm is now officially on the Microsoft Xbox Game Pass, with Game Pass subscribers getting access to 30 heroes for free in addition to the free hero rotation. So if you've got friends with Game Pass who've never tried HOTS, now's the time to convince them. They get to play a bunch of heroes. It's a great game. We'd love to see fresh faces. It's always exciting to share one of our favorite games with all of our favorite folks. So it's very exciting. You can use !Xbox in chat to see that official release. Looks like we've got most of our players back. Still waiting on the pause. I don't know if either team has started a timer. So we may be here for a while. Unfortunately, the reconnection process for HOTS has never been the cleanest, as I'm sure lots of us have experienced firsthand. So Dahaka could end up back in the game, and let's hope it's soon. While we're plugging other things, have not started a timer. Okay, cool. The last thing that I have in my bag of tricks to talk about is, I guess, the channel. I've had a couple folks follow thus far tonight. Thank you to those who did. If you enjoy the content and want to see more Heroes of the Storm commentary, feel free to follow the channel. You can also use !YT in chat to get a link over to the YouTube, which serves as an archive for all of these series that we get to do here on Twitch. You can subscribe there as well. You know, if you want to. It's up to y'all. All of this is really just meant to be in service to the community. Oh, thank you for the follow, Cutie. Yeah, this is all meant in service to the NGS community, which I've enjoyed being a part of so much. So if you enjoy the content and want more NGS in your day, then I've got a big old backlog over on YouTube that you can check out. We will also hopefully be able to send this audience over. There is one more broadcast going tonight that started about a half hour ago. So if they're still going by the time our series ends, we'll raid over there to kind of spread the love. Okay, let's see about something. No progress report yet. I'm going to step away for a moment, but I'll be back shortly. Certainly back in time for when the game resumes. Oh, of course. You just have to say it. All right, here we go. We're ready to go. Teams are getting back into the draft, or rather back into the game, so we can get back into our action. Excellent, excellent. It really is magical thinking that makes the world go round. I promise you, folks. So we should be off towards our first objective phase here on Garden of Terror. Alrighty. So a potential big push here for Maximum Thrust. They're also in position to contest the objective. We've got a pretty healthy wave and the siege camp. Full 5 hero commitment Ghost flies in and immediately has to barrel roll out. IT Cowboy digs in as well. Fair bit of damage. There's the stun onto the Ragnaros. Chromie push really far out, but they get a few more pokes here. Vacuity and Zaliv both doing a great job. IT Cowboy taking a lot of damage. They saved their burrow. PJ Red able to hop out. Grizzly interrupted once again, this time from the Deckard. Both teams doing a great job getting these stalls. Vacuity starts the channel. Zaliv and Ghost battling it out there. Top lane, the Siege Camp is pushing unfettered, whereas in bot lane, Cats on My Keyboard were able to take care of business there. There's the combo onto Vacuity. I don't think they're going to make it out alive, and that'll be first blood. On the right side, Ghost chases down another, so that's 2 takedowns in favor of Cats on My Keyboard. That'll secure them an early level 7. And there's the jump stun onto... Oh, what a great drag from IT Cowboy as well. Whew. The level 7 from PJ Red. Heavy impact, making a big difference there in securing that Deckard takedown. Only up to 8 stacks thus far for Grizzly. IT Cowboy looking for the drag onto Vacuity. They've got the Brush Stalker back up, so I will expect to see them waddle their way down to the bottom lane as the next objective is spawning on the top side of the battleground. Ghost is already up to 26 stacks, not bad. Making it 28 now. Zaliv starts the channel, as does Noise, but Ghost is in range for the objective interrupt. Vacuity zoning PJ Red out, and so Maximum Thrust will get another, or will get their first seed. IT Cowboy trying to get really froggy over here. They're going to get scouted out by Noise, who will continue on this siege camp. Ghost taking care of the top siege camp here. Apple making sure that someone is around to collect the experience in mid lane. Level 10's just around the corner now. And there they are. Oh my god, immediate engagement onto Noise. That's a dead Bambi. 4 takedowns unanswered thus far for the Cats. And they've got Ghost pushing away in top lane. They've got a siege camp at their back. PJ Red and Apple find Zaliv. Grizzly still mounted up here. Oh, what a great jump with the light bomb. Ghost is in range. There's a great combo from Grizzly. Another takedown. They commit the Ultralisk for it. We saw a few different heroics used. What do we have? We've got Ultralisk, we've got Light Bomb, of course, we've also got Gust and Isolation. And Avatar. On the other side, Maximum Thrust have equalized Storm talents, or sorry, heroic talents. We've got Cocoon, Stay a While and Listen, Loop, Temporal Loop that is, and we heard Ragnaros shout about it. It's Lava Wave with Leaping Strikes for Lunara. PJ Red scouting pretty aggressively here. They'll get looped as well as stunned. A lot of damage. They commit the Gust as well as the Leap of Faith. Cocoon lands onto Grizzly, but they're safe in the Spell Armor aura. Vacuity has to burrow charge to safety, but PJ Red follows it up with the Stormbolt. Grizzly does not connect on the combo, however. That minus 75 healing from Deckard. Oh my god, what a great freaking position for the Stay a While and Listen. Everyone goes down. Ghost getting chased away. PJ Red's still relatively healthy. They've got Avatar as well, if they feel like they need to use it. On the top side, IT Cowboy and Speeboop dueling it out. IT Cowboy still opting for the newly nerfed level 7 Feeding Frenzy. I haven't seen any teams experimenting with paralyzing enzymes yet, but I'm interested to see if people end up favoring it. Vacuity trying to get the rotation in onto IT Cowboy. Wait, did Loop just go on full cooldown? I'm sorry. That's an interaction I'm unfamiliar with. A huge gust. Ghost gets a bunch done. Noise, with the smooth moves on the leaping strikes, escapes. And despite a really threatening-looking engage with that gust, Maximum Thrust all make it out to safety. Speeboop pops the trait. And so Molten Core prevents top fort from taking any damage of note. Mid fort not going to be as lucky. The Lava Wave in bot lane taking care of most of the threat. And so, once again, Maximum Thrust handling the early objective advantage that the Cats were able to secure really well. Speeboop leaped on, leapt on. One more Stormbolt will do it. No connection there with the... Oh, what a great gust from Ghost to save the temporal loop. Apple was in a rough spot. IT Cowboy has been completely unfettered in bot lane, so they've gotten through a lot of this fort. At the end of the first objective phase, both mid and bottom fort are heavily damaged, but Maximum Thrust weather the storm without facing any catapult pressure. Got level 13s on both sides. Nothing too out of the ordinary. Vicious Stalker for IT Cowboy on the Dahaka, increasing their W damage when their speed boost is active. PJ Red finds the invade. Vacuity on the backside. PJ Red gets the steal, pops the... Every heroic flying on every side. Apple eating a lot of damage here, but they're able to run away thanks to their level 13 enchant boots lion speed. We've got another lava wave coming in top lane. That'll take care of the minions at least. Not all of the minions because of those trait beetles pulling some out. And the siege camp in mid lane get through that fort. Cats on my keyboard really far ahead here on the experience front, thanks to all of these takedowns they've secured. 6-1 in their favor, as well as additional minion experience. Oh no. Speeboop is dead. Yeah, Ragnaros doesn't survive this one. Grizzly's the one with the fort aggro, but they've got a Ravage to get out to safety. So all outer structures taken down. IT Cowboy does not have Brush Stalker. They do have their trait movement speed. Yeah, Loop gets put on full cooldown when you burrow. I did not know that. That is too much Dahaka privilege, frankly. I would have expected short cooldown. Leap in onto 2. Shadow Stormbolt connects. Timeout will save the Chromie, but Deckard is not going to be as lucky. Chromie ends up falling as well. There's Vacuity going down, and Cats on my keyboard firing back with a vengeance. Noise sidestepping that Stormbolt, but in the end, the Hammerang from Ghost seals the deal all the same. Level and a quarter ahead for Cats on my keyboard. PJ Red's threat range even higher now that Dwarf Toss or Dwarf Launch is online. Of course, Maximum Thrust does have Ragnaros de-push these lanes. It makes it difficult for the cats to push terribly far. The Kerrigan also having a melee assassin. There's Loop. How does Chrysalis work with Loop, I wonder? Perhaps Grizzly did not have it available. Next objective here, spawning in the top middle of the battleground. Maximum Thrust are going to get one of their 2 siege camps out. Unfortunately, bot lane, really the one that they would have preferred to get, but the fight's... Oh, Vacuity rotates in aggressively. Ghost goes on to the Anubarak. Draws. Oh, what a great engage from PJ Red on the backline. Vacuity dies. A huge light bomb connects onto 2. Here's the fly from Ghost. They're looking for Zaliv. And they can get a gust here onto Noise. There's one charge, a leaping strike. Do they have another? Doesn't matter. It's a dead Bambi once again. Speedboop having a great time in bot lane, taking care of that siege camp. Man, a 3-level lead now for Cats on My Keyboard. This is a complete turn of fortunes for our 2 teams. That's Storm Talents for Cats on My Keyboard. We've got Rewind for Muradin, Psionic Shift, aka Blink. Oh my god, Speedboop, why just step up? Ghost gets a huge wind tunnel, and that's going to be a death for Ragnaros. Vacuity might fall as well. They've still got the Burrow charge to escape. What else? Apex Predator for Dahaka. We saw the wind tunnel from Ghost. Censure for Anduin, so Chastise now stuns, not just roots. And we mentioned the Bolt of the Storm Kerrigan variation, which I believe is Psionic Shift. Yeah, Psionic Shift. Cats on My Keyboard looking like dynamite on Maximum Thrust's Battleground selection. IT Cowboy trying to get a little cheeky here in top lane. Maximum Thrust will get the Bruiser camp pushed out, but their other 2 lanes are kind of in shambles. Oh no. I don't know if Falstad makes it out of this one. They've got Barrel Roll and Gust, but there's the loop. A lot of damage going on to them, and the Leaping Strike will seal the deal. Noise playing it very well with their Unstoppable to avoid the displacement of the Gust. Bot Keep still healthy. Speedboop used the Molten Core for that, I believe, based on voice lines. So, a little bit of a rough spot for Ghost to get caught. A huge 2-hero combo! Zaliv, great timeout. I think they still die. They don't! Gotta love that 8 seconds of stasis, or however long it is. It's too long. And now, Cats on My Keyboard might have overplayed their hand. Maximum Thrust do not connect with the stuns, but there's the loop onto PJ Red. Apple still had the single charge, but there are 2 loops. They pop the rewind. IT Cowboy trying to get aggressive here. Oh my gosh. Vacuity gets the stun onto Apple this time. Grizzly in the back line. IT Cowboy falling low. It feels like there's been lots of emerald value for Deckard Cain. The healing denial, especially into heroes like Dahaka, can be hugely impactful. And so those takedowns have made a huge difference. Maximum Thrust weather that storm without losing a single keep and secure Storm Talents from a 3-level deficit to a 2-level deficit and even talent tier. Speaking of Storm Talents, we've got Rewind, Perfect Gems. Interesting. Usually I'm accustomed to seeing perfect gems picked up when more than one gem has been selected, but the cooldown reduction for that heal reduce seems to be important enough. Vacuity burrow charges in, but Ghost is able to scoot out without much trouble. What a huge gust onto the Deckard Cane. I don't know if Deckard's going to make it out alive. They popped Blessings of the Ancients, but it's not going to be enough. Zaliv falling low here. One more Hammerang could do it. They time out, but the Stormbolt is enough. 3 takedowns. Please don't stop for this objective. IT Cowboy knows what's up. They're running it to keep. They'd love to nab Speeboop if they could. PJ Red eating a lot of keep damage here. 15 seconds until the next gust. And Ghost's gusts have been making a lot of difference. Noise has to kite out a little bit. Oh no. Oh! Huge Molten Core. Oh, Apple with the keep aggro will fall. That is a rough position for Cats on My Keyboard to be in. Noise has loads of poke damage on Lunara. So with your healer missing, Siege Camp still going in top lane. Oh, but the Wind Tunnel committed! That's a tough stagger for Maximum Thrust to deal with. On the upside, neither team is threatening the objective. A seed will not spawn terrors at this point. Ghost doing big damage with that Hammerang now. No idea how many stacks they're up to, but it's costing a lot. Ghost gets looped here, but Grizzly could shift in and do a lot of damage. There it is, onto Zaliv. Do they have the timeout? They do. They get a big heal. The stun lands true, however, and that'll be a takedown. Man, the Kerrigan plays have been massive. Grizzly might fall here. No, the healing, or I should say the sustain from their shielding is enough. Vacuity, they're going to channel here. Oh, but not in time. The Stormbolt. Do they have the combo? They follow with the Dwarf launch. Man, Cats on My Keyboard have turned it all the way around. They are truly punishing this game. This composition, a huge shift of fortunes for them. They're going to get through mid-keep. They may look to end here. IT Cowboy unconcerned about joining the team for this push. Molten Core will help. It's not heroic difficulty, so... Oh, gosh, so much damage onto Ghost here. They popped the Light Bomb just for the shielding. Lunara will fall. Ghost will fall. Core up to down to 90% and counting. PJ Red gets looped. Apple still has one charge of Leap of Faith, but unfortunately they'll fall. Speeboop goes down, however. Grizzly gets a counter kill. So Core loses 19%, but it costs them 2 heroes. Man, this is really back and forth. Cats on My Keyboard managed the aggro well. Vacuity doesn't get the interrupt. They'll get out. IT Cowboy trying to get some interrupts here. Vacuity has found Anduin with the Cocoon. They'll get one impale. There's the burrow charge, but Zaliv and Deckard both caught on the other side of the fort, and perhaps a little concerned about what this objective in mid lane might do. Cats on My Keyboard were able to secure the objective, but with Murden just now coming back from the Hall of Storms. Oh, Vacuity out way in front of the team. They have to pop the rewind. Speeboop goes down. Unfortunate moment for them. I think they still had Molten Core. A huge play from Grizzly. Ghost takes so much damage from Zaliv on the Chromie. Grizzly doesn't connect with the combo. IT Cowboy eating so much poke damage from the Lunara. I don't think they've got any essence left. There's the Cocoon. Grizzly looks for the turn, but immediately dies. Huge sleep lands onto 2. Ghost falls. Apple in full retreat, as is IT Cowboy. Cora's taking damage. PJ Red wants to keep going here. They'll get a little bit more damage here before looking to escape. They'll be able to. With a cheeky rewind. Man. Core down to 34% now. IT Cowboy is committed to this top bruiser camp. They've been working on it every single time I look around. Their attempt on this bruiser camp is in my face. Alright, I like this play from Maximum Thrust. Use these trait beetles, peel back the structures, try and even out this catapult pressure. Would love to see them get another structure. Instead, they're going to work on this mid-siege camp. Looks like they can have their cake and eat it too. They get through all the outer structures and are able to steal away both camps. However, IT Cowboy continues to back camp these mercenaries. Lava Wave will help considerably. And they brush stock away. Next objective spawning in the bot side. A fight win here for Cats on my keyboard, and it is game over in favor of Maximum Thrust. But it looks like they are unwilling to contest. Oh, they do get the stalls. They commit the wind tunnel for it. Oh no, the drag connects. Vacuity falls. Immediate pick off. Noise. Hit with the isolation here. They put a lot of pressure onto Grizzly, but Grizzly was able to get out without too much trouble. PJ Red committing heavily onto the back line here. They jump in for another set of slows with the rewind. Oh, this is it for Deckard Cain. Zaliv already used their timeout. Noise trying to trade out here. They've got a lot of damage, but it's not going to be enough. 3 takedowns. Speeboop already used their Molten Core. I think this is game over. Sleep catches 3. Polymorphs a couple. Core shielding's still around. And Speeboop has a lot of damage and survivability. Oh no, the Molten Core. Grizzly's falling low. It's not going to be enough. That's it. Game over. Cats on my keyboard take it. Huge plays in the late game. Very well played for both sides, but in the end, Cats on my keyboard really running a clinic on Garden of Terror. 30 takedowns to 10 in their favor. An absolute major shift from game 1. And punching above their weight class, I might add, because they are technically the lower of the 2 teams, 10th to 9th in the standings. Take a look at our post-game stats. Ghost getting so much damage on those hammerangs. Not top of the lobby. That, of course, goes to the Lunara, thanks to all of her damage over time. But really, it's the takedowns that kind of tells the story of this nearly 28-minute game. 30 to 10 in favor of Cats on my keyboard. as we take a look at our builds here. Yeah, a little bit of a anomalous Deckard build in my mind. Field Study at 1, Potion of Rejuvenation at 13, the AoE potion, what is that? Potion of Revival at 13. Not what I'm accustomed to. I don't know that it necessarily suits their draft as well, given how spaced out Chromie and Lunara can be in those battlegrounds, or in those engagements. And once again, for me, the highlight player for Game 2 has to be Grizzly on the Kerrigan. Excellent combos, great use of Blink, really playing that melee assassin's Razor Edge to a T. Okie doke. Head back to our battleground selection. Actually, you know what, friends? That was kind of a long one. I really will step away, as I threatened to earlier. But I should be back real soon. Just have to get a little bit of water. So keep it locked. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back shortly. And we'll be ready for Game 3. So thanks for sticking around. Welcome back, everyone. I say that like you went somewhere and it wasn't me, but we're back, and we're glad to have you back. It looks like both of our teams are taking a little bit of time to decompress after that hectic Game 2. So we are still waiting for our next battleground selection. Alright, so it's been Maximum Thrust's battleground pick for both games 1 and 2. This is their first opportunity to pick between battleground and first pick. So I'll be interested to see if they prefer first pick. It's their first option, first time to choose. If they do, it makes me wonder where the cats might bring us for game number 3. I would love to see a Towers of Doom game, if only because I just haven't seen that many thus far this season. I think I've ended up broadcasting more Braxis games than Towers of Doom games, which for the League is a pretty rare occurrence. Braxis holdout, not often one of the more popular battlegrounds. But I haven't seen a lot of Tomb. Or I'm sorry, Towers as of late. I'm sorry, friends. A little bit of Space Cadet at this hour. I'm I'm also hoping that we don't end up going to Volskaya. Even though it was recently, the Protector was recently buffed, I don't think the most recent patch, which you can use !patch in chat to access, I think it was the patch before that that ended up buffing the robot. Even so, it's a battleground that can go quite late. The objective still not the strongest scaling. So we'll see where we're headed for Game 3. Okay. And we do have our next lobby up. Looks like we are headed to Tomb of the Spider Queen as selected by Cats on my keyboard. So Maximum Thrust did take their crack at first pick now that they've got it. A very different battleground. Games 1 and 2 on two of our largest battlegrounds in the pool, with Tomb of the Spider Queen, one of the tightest rotational maps available to us. Wave clear, of course, at a premium. So I imagine Johanna priority will increase. We haven't seen any Jo yet this evening. She was nerfed in the most recent patch, but she's still pretty darn good. And we should be off to the races here shortly for our Game 3 draft. Excellent. A real nail-biter. Both games pretty decisive back and forth. So I'm excited to see how things shape up in our deciding game of the series. Maximum Thrust has kept their first two bans in Game 1 and 2 completely standard, with Diablo and Bala. And by standard, I mean standardized. They haven't changed. With Grizzly's performance on the Queen of Blades last game, and how powerful Kerrigan is on this battleground, I could see them opt for it here. They really fear the Diablo, though. PJ Red on the Muradin, I'll say, got a lot of great engagements last game. There's the Stukov ban again. So, sticking to their guns, both teams respecting their scouting information and keeping those bans the same. We'll see if Maximum Thrust stick with the Volaban or choose to flex it at all. Ghost has looked competent on the other damage dealers they have ended up on. Alright, so Vala's available for the first time for the Cats. Got a Blaze Ban instead. This could be Tyrael, this could be Brightwing, if we're sticking to bans that we've done in the first slot previously. Cats on my keyboard. Gonna ban out Vala this time around. Okay, so Vala just high priority for both of our teams. What do Maximum Thrust prioritize when they cannot get their hands on the Demon Hunter? Johanna. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. She's strong, she brings Wave Clear, which opens up your draft to be a little bit more flexible when you don't have to rely on quite as much Wave Clear from the rest of your damage dealers. Makes heroes like Alarak and other non-Wave Clear heavy assassins more viable. Murd and Leoric. That's a pretty early Leo, but has a great matchup into Johanna. There's the Brightwing, which has been banned away in both games 1 and 2, so Cats on my keyboard are going to have to reckon with the Fairy Dragon here in game 3, and a Rainer for Noise. Nice. Not the most common pick, but always happy to see Jimmy. There's the Chromie ban. I think that makes a lot of sense. Zaliv getting lots and lots of value out of the aspect of time in game 2. Maximum Thrust. They've swapped up their third ban a fair bit. I'd expect a healer ban based on the heroes left to pick for Cats on my keyboard. Maybe an Anduin? Yeah. Which I think is fair. Apple played it quite well. Oh, Mephisto and Alexstrasza. Okay, we're globin'. We're globin', folks. I think they might have been touched in the last patch too. I don't remember. It was weeks ago, and I haven't read it since. So last two picks here for Vacuity and Zaliv. We'll see how they round out their draft with their offlane and flex picks. Dazzlo and Tassadar. Alright. Tassadar bringing all the wave clear you might want. Gazlo, not the most wave clear in an offlaner. I don't know how the matchup is into Leoric, but Gravo is always a scary button. Grizzly's last choice, it's going to be the Junkrat, which had been banned out a few different times. Let's take a look at our final draft for our final game in the series. Mephisto Alexstrasza is always a potent combo that scales very well. Leoric scales very well. Maximum Thrust's draft, I would expect, features more comfort heroes rather than just raw power picks in the meta. And so that might be a difference maker, but on paper, I do think Cats on my keyboard have a slightly more straightforward team fighting composition. However, you know, if the Blessed Shield and Gravo Bombs line up just right, Maximum Thrust has some serious wombo combo potential. And Alexstrasza with no cleanse can't really stop it. So it, like every other game, is going to come down to the execution more than anything else. So let's see how our teams perform here in the last of our 3-game series. Cats on my keyboard looking to close it out here with IT Cowboy on Leoric, PJ Red on Muradin, Apple on Alexstrasza, Grizzly playing Junkrat, and Ghost on Mephisto. To the right in red, Maximum Thrust trying to stave off the lower placed team. We've got Vacuity on Tassadar, Zaliv on Gazlo, Noise on Raynor, Speeboop on Johanna, and Shalve on Right Wing. Level 1 talents. Laws of Hope for Johanna. Interesting. This is the second night in a row I've seen Laws of Hope. I feel like you gotta pick Zealous Glare. Whoa! Huge Shock Ray from Vacuity. IT Cowboy caught on the wrong side of the Force Wall. Vacuity stacking up that Shock Ray with Static Charge at level 1. Another 3 stacks. Man. There's running through these stacks. 7 already. That's crazy. And the Junkrat wave clear has Maximum Thrust behind on rotations. Already up to 5 globes for Apple's level 1. What's that called? Circle of Life? Just like the Lion King, friends. I love this play from Cats on my keyboard. This is what being ahead on rotations on Tomb will get you. You're able to sneak someone off to work on this neutral camp without giving away any sort of vision information with how well the waves are pushed up. Ooh, Apple narrowly squeaking out of that force wall from Vacuity. Oh, first blood goes over to Maximum Thrust. Alexstrasza waiting around for that heal to proc. Level 4s on both sides now. Grizzly picking up Taste for Explosions, looking to increase their damage as the game goes on. So Cats on my keyboard really doubling down on this scaling composition. Speeboop picks up Hold Your Ground at level 4. We've also got Magic Spit for Shalve, so a little bit more cooldown reduction on their cleanse. PJ Red collects the gems that were lost, but it's another takedown for Maximum Thrust. Oh, Noise getting a little bit caught in the back there. No damage dealt. No harm, no foul. Check in on bot lane. How's it going? Zaliv has lost a tower, but is still faring pretty well. IT Cowboy has taken a lot of damage. 51 gems in the pockets of Cats on my keyboard. They managed to turn in 42 of them there. Speeboop gets a majority of their team's gems turned in. Zaliv, the last one, holding on to 13 of them. I think they're going to have a tough time getting past IT Cowboy and getting those gems turned in. Cats on my keyboard get another mercenary camp pushed out. Speeboop tanks towers for a bit with their heal over time from their level 1. PJ Red goes wide with the Stormbolt as we've got level 7s on both sides. Vacuity opting for beam alignment. So more Qs more often as long as they've got their passive stacked all the way. TokiB, thank you for the raid. We've got Barn Burner here, Game 3 in Div C. the 9th place Maximum Thrust taking on the 10th place Cats on My Keyboard. And it looks like on the bot side, Zaliv will get their gems turned in. So first objective phase goes over to Maximum Thrust. What else do we have? Overload, Death Laser has 2 charges. Seems neat. Heavy Slugs for Noise. Very interesting. Pairing very well with their level 1 Ace in the Hole. Alright. The globes are online. Spite is here. Ghost will always have cooldown reduction ticking. As well as a fair bit of healing. 4 heroes committed to the top lane means that Maximum Thrust are getting a lot of push done in this boss lane. Ghost is going to have cooldowns forever, which means damage forever. I've opted for Frost Storm at level 7, so they're able to slow Maximum Thrust down whenever they get them caught in that Lightning Nova. Critical Mist at level 7 for Shalve, pairing very well with Magic Spit at level 4. A big heal when they use Soothing Mist's Cleanse, and cooldown reduction on Soothing Mist's Cleanse when they auto-attack. Up to 95 stacks on Vacuity's level 1 now. Just around the corner from Storm Talents. That's it for Cats on My Keyboard. Maximum Thrust still a little low. PJ Red pops the Avatar. They're looking for Noise. Great connect on the Durance. They'll fall. Stevu doesn't have the Iron Skin anymore. PJ Red will connect one more in Stormbolt. A huge jump in, and Johanna will fall as well. Shalve picks up most of the gems there. Mid lane completely unattended by Maximum Thrust. This is going to be a huge objective phase for Cats on My Keyboard. Ghost continuing to rain damage in here. The heal over time from Spite helps a lot in tanking those towers. Noise could get a takedown here onto Grizzly. Vacuity connecting with another Shock Ray. Mid fort goes down, however. That is a important fort for controlling those turn-in points. Grav got used? I guess solo on IT Cowboy? Entomb also got used? I guess solo onto the Gazlo? Durance goes wide. PJ Red taking a little bit of damage here. Noise gets a big slow onto Ghost. But man, that Alex Straza healing is potent. Both teams with enough gems in their pockets to turn back in. IT Cowboy and Gazlo both holding on to most of them. Entomb used. IT Cowboy just trying to trade more aggressively into Zaliv. Ghost has poke for days. Speedboop's got the Blessed Shield back up again. If they're able to land it onto Alex Straza, that'll be the difference maker. Speedboop gets the interrupt. Checking in on bot lane once again. IT Cowboy has the Wraithwalk to escape. That's going to buy space in top for Apple to get turned in. Grizzly has 22 in their pockets. That'll be enough for the next objective phase. Noise getting chased down by PJ Red. There's the Stormbolt onto Shalve. Vacuity, Noise, and Shalve all in full retreat here. Man, Speedboop is so far away. Nowhere to be found. There's the Lifebinder. It's a chaotic 5v4 with Leoric missing in action. Dragon Queen popped. There's the Entomb onto Noise. And that's going to be it for Raynor. Vacuity trading a lot of damage back in return. Oh no, 31 gems could be lost here. Vacuity and Speeboop able to pick most of... No, the 20 gems... Okay, they pick up the 20 gems. Johanna just has to make it out alive to keep the economy of Maximum Thrust intact here. Cats on my keyboard are on a rampage. PJ Red deep under the fort once again. Ghost chasing him down. The Durance, does it land? It does not. Still 15 seconds away from the next Entomb, but they're not going to need it to chase down that Tassadar takedown. Speeboop once again diligently collects the gems. Whew. Cats on my keyboard did not care for that Game 1 loss that they suffered, and they've been going full throttle at Maximum Thrust ever since. There's another takedown. Oh, Noise is going to make it out alive. The Durance and Entomb, a little bit of an overlap there. So Noise makes it out. Bot Keep might not be as lucky. IT Cowboy takes a lot of damage here, but they've got the extended distance, or I should say duration, on their Wraith Walk with Ominous Wraith at 13. We saw that vision reveal that's from Vacuity's level 13 Oracle. Gives them spell armor as well. Maximum Thrust looked like they want to engage here. Oh no, IT Cowboy and Ghost once again catching all of Maximum Thrust. It looked like a fight they wanted to take. Zaliv in a lot of trouble. Speeboop doesn't have their trait available. They're slow. They have to escape once again for the economy of Maximum Thrust to remain intact. 6 takedowns to 2, a talent tier advantage as well. Cats on my keyboard want this bot keep taken down. Ghost taking a fair bit of damage here, but once again, it's that heal over time from the Alex Straza globes. Yeah, they're going to finish it off with that last catapult shot. IT Cowboy eats so much damage here. They pop the Austin Renewal. Entomb goes wide. Top lane is pushing in favor of Cats on my keyboard. So they're okay to posture around this bot lane a little bit. But Maximum Thrust aren't going to give them a fight that they don't want to take. PJ Red stalling Speeboop for IT Cowboy. They get those gems turned in. And Speeboop is in an awkward position. Johanna wants to frontline for her team, but also can't be in a difficult position because she holds all their gems. Immediate interrupt onto the Drip Tire. Vacuity is rooted. They don't have Shadow Walk. Oh, what a great set of CC and body blocks from PJ Red. Shall they escapes with the Blink Heal? But this takedown and power play. Oh, Ghost gets another takedown. Man, the percentage damage at 16. Apple could reinforce this push with the Dragon Queen if they so choose. IT Cowboy draws the keep aggro. The catapult still connected here. As well as this bot lane siege camp. I didn't even notice that happen. Noise completely out of mana. A little bit strange to see an auto attack based hero out of mana, but I guess they have opted for the Q build with cooldown reduction at both 13 and 16. Line them up and paint them red respectively. There's the Oracle reveal. Speeboop able to offload a lot of the gems, not all of them. Mid lane isn't in the worst position for Maximum Thrust. IT Cowboy catches one with the Entomb, but the rest of the team too far away to follow up. An ambitious attempt. And I like the call from Cats on my keyboard, sending IT Cowboy off to clean up those far lanes a little bit. So much damage on the Ghost. Holy cannoli. And also keep the climb towards their Storm talent tier. Still about a 2-level lead towards that all-important level 20 talent tier. So there you have it. We've got enough gems on both of our teams for back-to-back turn-ins. Maximum Thrust are going to pop the Hyperion, commit to top fort, but that's going to give Cats on My Keyboard complete free reign for this bottom turn-in. Mid lane keep, definitely the target for Cats on My Keyboard. Please soak 20 first, guys. Vacuity, diligent with their Oracle reveal once again. And Cats on My Keyboard are going to play it safe here as they wait for the Storm talents to come in. Their objective still spawning in a favorable spot here in mid lane. IT Cowboy split in the bot lane. Root lands, but we've still got Iron Skin available for Sweetwood. And there's level 20. IT Cowboy spooks in, catches the Silence Entomb. Oh my god, a huge engage from PJ Red as well. The damage isn't connecting, however. Ghost gets the shade in this time. Interrupted on the Durance. Vacuity will fall. Durance will be back soon. Speedboop doesn't have their trait back up. They'll fall. A full distance Stormbolt. PJ Red and IT Cowboy both chasing in. Noise caught by the Durance this time. IT Cowboy might be able to finish them off. A huge Paint Them Red proc, but the core is falling. Apple the target now. IT Cowboy and Ghost a little bit low. PJ Red backing out. Another takedown, this time onto Brightwing. There's Raynor going down. They're looking for a full 5-hero wipe, but they're not going to get it before the core falls. GG, well played. In the end, Cats on My Keyboard take it in 3. Whew. A long series, hard fought on both sides, but in the end, Cats on My Keyboard were able to clutch it out in that third game. They performed extraordinarily well on their map pick. And let's take a look at our post-game stats, as is tradition. Once again, the takedowns really tell the whole story here. 12-2 in favor of Cats on My Keyboard, pulling out the Alex Straza Mephisto synergy there, which, as we show our builds, of course, it all comes back to those level 1 and level 4 talents, Circle of Life and Spite. So much damage over time, or I'm sorry, healing over time and cooldown reduction afforded to the Mephisto player. Is that Hysteria at 13 as well? Yeah, so more Durances more often. It is a nasty, nasty combo. Let's head over to our post series, and I'll see if I can't get an interview with one of our teams. Thanks everyone for sticking around through the pauses and everything. It wasn't always the smoothest going. Hello, hello. Give me 1 sec and I can kick over to the interview scene so everyone can hear you out there in TV. Here we go. GG, well played. How are you feeling after that hard-fought series?
Yeah, I mean, to lose the first game and then to come back, reverse sweep, I mean, feels good. Feels good to get this win, so.
Absolutely.
Was sweaty.
It was definitely sweaty. I'm sweating over here and I'm just talking about it, you know?
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about that first game. The Abathur pick threw me off. I didn't get a chance to do as much scouting as I would have liked before the series started, but is Abathur something that we've seen out of Maximum Thrust before in the season? Was that something that your scouting had told you about, or was that completely out of left field?
We weren't expecting it. We played against Maximum Thrust last season, so we weren't exactly ready for it, and then they played it really well, and it caught us off guard. I wasn't making like good calls, either like 5v4 or we kind of let the ABBA punish us a little bit, and there were some opportunities that we just didn't take advantage of, and they played it really well. Maximum Thrust, they kind of toyed around with us, playing the map really well, and we just didn't take any initiative, which is kind of my bad.
I mean, that's the catch-22 of a Abathur composition. I agree with you. Maximum Thrust played it exceptionally well, scaled up into the late game, and by level 20, they're just a giant ball of stats, right? They've got move speed from Tyrael, they've got move speed from Lucio, they've got move speed from Abathur, they've got shields from Abathur, they've got shields from Tyrael. Yeah, it's nasty. It's a nasty composition. So the fact that they were able to stall out the game to 20, they just played it to a T. Of course, games 2 and 3, a little more convincing in your favor. Talk to me about Garden of Terror. When you saw that pick, were you guys worried about a similar Abathur thing? Or were you confident that if you were able to secure the Dahaka, you had a good answer to that more map-focused playstyle?
Yeah, when they chose the map, I mean, we're pretty comfortable on most maps, and then like that early Dahaka pick, and then we eventually grabbed the Falstad too. We weren't as worried about. I mean, we're the ones who's supposed to be putting more like map pressure and whatnot, and yeah, so we weren't too worried about an ABBA pick or anything once we kind of had the flying heroes, and then we played it really well. Felt like we were winning team fights and not capitalizing as much. Kind of like took us later in the game, even though we were winning some early team fights and getting the objectives. So they did really well at like turning things around and staying alive, and it only takes one team fight to turn the entire game around. So they really put themselves in that spot where they could kind of turn the game around if we made one more mistake at that point.
Absolutely. Luckily, I think the engages from PJ Red and Grizzly both on the Muradin and Kerrigan were very clean. And so I think it ended up being like 30 takedowns to 10 in y'all's favor for game 2. And then, of course, for game 3, it was the first time you got to pick the battleground. I noticed that when given the preference, you opted for first pick. Is that the typical choice across the division? I'm always curious to hear how different divisions think about the first pick versus battleground selection meta.
I don't mind either way too much. I think there's like a couple meta heroes that like we're super comfortable with, and if I feel like if we get them first pick, then we're gonna be competitive and we're gonna win draft or at least be even. So I think picking first pick, we're that confident in a few select heroes. But if we're a map pick, it's fine too. Not too big of a deal.
Awesome.
At the same time, so we're kind of like maybe 60-40 favoring first pick, but it's not going to throw us off if they chose first pick.
And the first pick Johanna, I guess, was the plan always Alex Draza Mephisto? You can't answer that question without giving away draft strats, so don't bother answering it. It looked absolutely like Mephisto and Alex Draza always does. You guys played that very well. So much cooldown reduction and healing over time, and it's just so oppressive.
Yeah. I mean, I know that they had a good Chromie player, but they grabbed the Joe, so like at that point, there's no Stitches, no Nubrak, we banned the Chromie, so like, I felt comfortable on the Mephisto going through it. We have, I mean, like every map, we have like 4 to 5 strategies that we can bounce around with. That's obviously one of our go-tos.
Mhm.
So it's always fun to play. But if they saw it coming or banned it, or if they had a counter, we can flex off of it.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
that was cool to get it, and yeah, and we played it really well. The Junkrat poking out, us poking out.
Yeah,
Just
the
had map
Junkrat
control
poking
early
and
on.
taking care of the wave clear as well. You guys were ahead on the early game rotations, which I was not expecting. Just based on the Johanna Tassadar. Like, that's a lot of wave clear, but you guys still were ahead on those early game rotations. You were able to sneak Grizzly down to get that first siege camp. Just classic textbook Tomb of the Spider
Yeah,
Queen gameplay.
yeah, that was cool. I know that even though we got that bot siege camp, I think I know they killed me early game and they got the Alex early game, but once we hit the globes and got through that early and we had the siege camp bot lane, and Leoric was doing super well, also with some clutch and tombs. So like we really just capitalized, and the longer the game went, I felt like more things just came together.
Absolutely. All right. That's it for questions I have for you about the match. We're 7 weeks into the season. I think that puts us more than halfway. How's it looking? Let me check on standings. Where's that put y'all towards playoffs? That's another 4 points. So with tonight's win, that puts you in the conversation for the playoff hunt. How excited are you at the prospect of making it to postseason?
Super excited. So like, I guess our story is like me and Apple. So Ghost and Apple were married, and we missed the first half of the season, so we had a lot of growing pains early on. We're back, and we're picking. Koala's usually our main roster, but we're picking up subs and stuff who are looking really promising and everything. So I feel like we're a completely different team than the first half of the season. So we won our first game last week, and then we won this game. So we have a great chance of sneaking in there and then being a force to reckon with in the playoffs. So Cats on My Keyboard historically always has that sneak in potential, and then anything can happen in the playoffs. So like even Grizzly tonight was his first like official game with us this season, and it was great playing with him, and IT shifting around roles and super flexible. So we're coming at it, and we're excited. We're excited to make playoffs and do work.
You'd love to hear it. All right, that's it for me. Any shout outs you want to give before you get back to celebrating with the team? Floor is yours.
Yeah, so great respect for Maximum Thrust. Definitely sweaty games. Good luck this season. I'm sure we'll see you in the playoffs, or just see you around. And thank Grizzly. He came in clutch for us. Tried out with the team. It was really nice to have, and we got another win tonight. So we're happy with him. And then thank you for casting. So appreciate you coming in, spending your time and doing this for us, and really appreciate that. So that's about it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ghost. Have a good evening.
You too. Good night, man.
So there you have it. Cats on My Keyboard scaling towards the late game, as it were, as far as the season is concerned. And they're looking good doing it. It's definitely a good time to get those wins. And if they're able to repeat their performance that we saw out of them in games 2 and 3 for the rest of the season, they really will be a force to reckon with in the postseason. Before I sign off, I'll give some shout-outs of my own. Thanks to everyone for sticking around and keeping with us throughout the series. It's great to have everyone come out and support these teams. Another big shout out to all of the NGS staff. They work really hard, all for free, and it's so that we can all participate in this league. So remember to thank your mods and your board members and whoever else you can think to thank. Those are always the first two that come to mind, but the teams are innumerable, and everyone is doing it just for the love of the community. And last but not least, of course, a big shout out to all of the artists, musicians, and programmers whose work I feature here on the stream. It wouldn't look or sound anywhere near as good without their contribution. You can find links to all of their work below, or coming up here in a credit roll after I sign off. It's all Creative Commons licensed or open source material, so if you heard or saw anything you liked tonight, it could be in your next project as well. So please do go check out those links. Until next time, friends, good luck and have fun out there. Peace and love.